part two of what's in the big, beautiful bill. That is big and a bill, but definitely not beautiful. There is so much in this bill, and I do encourage you guys to go and read it for yourselves. The last time I talked about what was going to happen with the rich, the middle class, and the poor. This one is going to be about the other stuff that is in this over 1,000-page bill. Let's start with AI. In the bill, it says that states are not allowed to regulate AI for 10 years. For an entire decade, states will not be able to regulate AI. Now imagine how fast AI is actually growing right now. Imagine how many jobs AI is replacing. Also, realize that there is a deepfake video going around of Pope Leo saying how much he hated the fact that J.D. Vance visited him. That video was very convincing. Had the mouth movements and everything, but it was completely AI. So now they can just have celebrities or well-known people saying whatever it is that they want via AI, and people believe it because they can't tell the difference. There can be no regulation on that at all. That's not good. The environment is screwed. All of the EV tax credits that Biden had put into place, gone. Solar and solar panels, solar upgrades, the tax credits that you got from that, gone. Climate justice grants that people could get to help fight climate change, lobby for laws, help to do things to improve the climate, gone. They are taking away programs like methane reduction funding, greenhouse gas reporting, because if you don't report it, it's not happening. They are also slashing funds for energy efficiency, clean energy demonstrations, and state and community energy programs. Why do we need a planet? If I'm rich, I can just go into space once this planet has been destroyed. But you know what they did have $1.3 billion for? Billion, with a B, strategic petroleum reserves. That was supposed to be drawn down and scaled back to make way for cleaner, renewable energies here in this country. Because every other country is putting money into the infrastructure of clean and renewable energies because that is where the future is. But the dumbasses in this country decide that, hey, I want to stay in the 1930s in every way possible. First of all, y'all got $103 billion to spend on that, but you don't have money for healthcare, money for WIC, money for veteran services, but you got $1.3 billion that you can just throw up in there, huh? So they want to go back to petroleum. What that's going to do, if we're not investing in clean energy, our costs for energy will go up because clean renewable energies are cheaper, which allowed our costs to go down. Having solar panels and EV cars allowed us to get less gas, less petroleum, use less coal or burnable energies, which cost us less money. They are also going against nonprofits hard. It used to be that nonprofits could rent out their name or their logo to other entities, and they didn't have to pay taxes on the revenue that they got from that because they are nonprofits. All of that revenue goes back into whatever cause that they're trying to help. Now, in this bill, that revenue that they get from renting out their name is now taxable income, even though they're nonprofit. Also, if any employees are paid for their parking, that pay that they get for their parking or their transportation is now taxable income. Yeah. They did, though, put no tax on tips and no tax on overtime in the bill. So that is a good thing for the people that work in those industries. These are only voluntary tips. Service charges, negotiated amounts, things like that, those will still be taxable. However, y'all gonna get fucked in every single other way. Just know that, because I know most people who work in those industries do not have health care from those industries. So all that money that you're saving from no tax on tips and overtime, yeah, you're probably going to be spending that money on that. They have also attacked universities and research. The taxes on universities are going to go up because they hate education. And if an entity is doing research and they get funding for that research, that funding is now going to be taxable income unless their research is completely public. They are also putting more money into the military. So they got money to put into the military, which already gets well over $900 billion a year. And they had just given it even more money in the last reconciliation bill. They are going to put more money into the military for shipbuilding, for the border, naturally, for military presence at the border, for munitions and nuclear force upgrades, for Indo-Pacific Command enhancements, and other things that they should be able to allot the $900 billion that they already have to these things. Waste, fraud, and abuse is definitely rampant there because over $1 billion is being spent on that Palace plane Dumpy Pants wants for Air Force One. We got money for that, but no money. Okay. There is one more thing in this bill that I think is incredibly disgusting. They just sneak it in here. It has nothing to do with any budgets, nothing. It's the judge's ability not to hold someone in contempt for violating a restraining order if the person that put the restraining order on doesn't pay some type of security fee. So basically, if somebody is stalking you or you have somebody that you need to stay away from, let's just say it's an ex-partner and you need to put a restraining order on that person. If you don't pay a fee, then the judge, via this bill, cannot hold that person in contempt for violating that restraining order. So if you don't have any money and you can't afford to pay whatever fee, then that person can just violate the restraining order and come and do the thing that you were trying to avoid them doing in the first place. Party of family values right there, because they really care about your safety. They really care about your life. They are so pro-life that they don't care if you are unalived by the person that you are trying to stay away from and keep away from you, because you're not rich enough for them. Let that sink in. They did strip away some powers of the presidency. In the bill, it says that the president cannot unilaterally use executive orders to enact new policies, especially during the end of their term. I feel like they are targeting another Biden type or another Democratic type with this, because they sure as hell ain't gonna care if Trump does it. This bill also limits the authority of the Secretary of Education, so they cannot just enact policies without congressional approval. But I believe this is to go after the student loan issue that they had during Biden. Biden was trying to fulfill his promise of getting student loan debt wiped out for a ton of Americans. And he did that. He spent billions of dollars wiping out student loans for millions of Americans. They didn't like that. Even though they want PPP loans that they never have to pay back for their businesses, they don't want students to be debt free. They want students to have to pay back their loans. But business people who already have an established business and can put food on the table, they don't have to pay back their loans. This bill is just atrocious, and it is completely on brand for the Republican Party. If you do not think that the Republicans and those who support them are deplorable people, just take a look at this bill, because every single bit of it is deplorable.